Hello, I'm Bill Bullard with RCAF USA, the voice of the independent cattle producer in the United States of America. Well, this week the Biden administration announced its action plan to address the broken cattle market. The president, his secretary of agriculture, and his attorney general held a public event to announce the plan. And the plan contains 6 major parts. First, $1 billion in federal funding to expand independent beef packing capacity. Second, a promise to issue new rules to implement the 100-year-old Packers and Stockyards Act. Third, a promise to someday issue rules for the voluntary use of the Product of USA label on beef. And fourth, a promise to establish what is essentially a hotline for industry participants to report potential violations of antitrust laws and the Packers and Stockyards Act. And fifth, a promise to provide more information about the prices packers actually pay for cattle. And sixth, a promise to work with Congress on legislation such as the Fisher-Grassley Compromise Bill, a bill that does not direct anyone to require packers to compete for any more cattle in the cash market than they've already been purchasing during the past 18 months. So all but the last one are good steps. They've been needed for decades. But the entire action plan is forward-looking. It accepts the marketplace as it is today and tweaks it over the next few years. And that's what's wrong with this otherwise good plan. It opens the chute from which a flurry of decisive corrective action should jump, but the bull isn't bucking. We'll all have to wait perhaps for 2 or more years to see any meaningful changes. It's not a measured response to the serious market failure that has plagued our U.S. cattle industry for at least the past 7 years. Our industry is in a serious crisis, and the plan is to ensure it doesn't get any worse. That's hardly a measured response to this chronically dysfunctional marketplace. So let's look at what the Biden administration could have announced this week, but didn't. First, the Biden administration laments the highly concentrated marketplace and describes it as one in which only 4 of the largest beef packers control 85% of the beef market. Well, the only reason that happened is because the U.S. Department of Justice chose not to enforce our antitrust laws to stop any of the mergers that caused the concentration level to be so high. Now, the only way to enforce an antitrust law is to file a lawsuit and allege a violation. So if it's true that the administration believes that competition has been reduced due to all the previous mergers, why didn't it announce it would aggressively enforce our antitrust laws by filing an enforcement action alleging that the mergers they once thought were okay have in fact reduced competition in violation of those antitrust laws? And then there's this. The Biden administration acknowledges that the concentrated beef packers can increase their own profits at the expense of both farmers and ranchers and consumers. This means the packers are able to exploit their market power by driving down cattle prices and inflating beef prices. And that has to be a function of engaging in conduct that eliminates or reduces competition. So why didn't the administration announce it would file an enforcement action against the packers, alleging the packers have violated our antitrust laws and or the Packers and Stockyards Act by using their market power to reduce competition? Now, we've explained to the administration that one way the concentrated packers are able to exploit their market power is to deny timely market access to cattle producers who sell in the cash market, thus causing them to enter into unpriced formula contracts just to ensure they don't get stuck for weeks overfeeding their cattle. So why didn't the administration announce it would initiate an enforcement action alleging that this was an unfair practice under the Packers and Stockyards Act? The administration also knows that the U.S. Department of Agriculture's voluntary Product of the USA label is being used on foreign beef. Why didn't it say it would immediately stop that deceptive practice? Or at least say it would work with Congress to pass the bipartisan mandatory country of origin labeling bill, Senate Bill 2716, that would effectively end that practice as well. The administration is being far too passive in its action plan intended to address the years-long broken cattle and beef markets. While what the administration has announced is good, it isn't anywhere near good enough. It's a far cry from Teddy Roosevelt's trust-busting plan, and we hope and pray the President, the Secretary of Agriculture, and the Attorney General go back to their war room and devise a better action plan. Help us cause that to happen by going to www.r-calfusa.com to become a member, because doing so will help us become strong enough to permanently fix our broken cattle market. With that, have a productive week. Thank you and goodbye.